Hello there, welcome to my views and news. Can you hear me, viewers? Thank you for responding with yes. Thank you for joining this live chat session. Title uh, is not good for some people. It wouldn't be appreciated by some people. Uh, Another bad news for Ethiopian government, but that is what is happening. By the way, uh, we cannot help reporting one after the other disappointing news, disappointing developments for the government. So there is no better way to put it than to say that the developments are not very encouraging for Ethiopian government. We'll talk about this new development. Secondly, Jawar remarked about the failure of peace talks. What did he say? Uh, we'll try to analyze Jawar's talk about the failure of peace talks. Before that, let me welcome you, let me welcome the viewers. After that, a roundup of today's main news stories, and then these two news stories. A disappointing news for Ethiopian government, despite PM Abiy's efforts. I think recently he held some meetings abroad, but nothing seems to be working. Sorry. Secondly, we'll analyze Jawar's statements. Daniel Abate is the first one who commented, then Thiago Mangisha, Peter Apo, Samuel Faleke, Man Lima, Hannah Tamrat, My Life, Ethio, Birhano Bakele, Korkor Kordang, Hannah Asefa, Enoch Gebrselassie, My Life, Samson Abdo, A. Teddy Fan, Enoch Gebrselassie, Dilhas, Solomon Veldemariam, then we have Muhammad Usman, Aaron David, Jamil Shika, Wise is Best, Emmanuel Tafire. My Life has written a comment in Urdu language. Sajid kaise ho? How are you, Sajid? He's saying, I'm fine, brother. Isfaldat Hapte, Autume, Long Live Ethiopia. Gebrihivot, Tivol de Birhan, Yilak Ishato, Amane Nora, Akon City, Abinet Gebeyeho. A says, I miss good news. Well, let's hope and pray that good news comes. Otherwise, whatever is happening is not pointing towards progress, prosperity, or developments in the right direction. Uzil Gunner, Ashivot PLC, Marcos Ababechala, Silam Yemta, Abunish Veldo, Ilyas Likisha, Wande Firo, Silam Yemta, Tony the Man, Elijah Kano, Hope. Then we have Aman Woshe. Thank you for joining this live chat session, viewers. Just a short roundup of today's main news stories. Just a short roundup. I won't speak too much about today's main developments because most of the viewers who are part of this live chat session, they watch my videos regularly. Fano's activities ongoing. 3 major attacks by Fano fighters in the last 48 hours. Attack on Voldia prison, Hundreds released, government silent. Not a single statement from Ethiopian government about this major incident. Secondly, Fano fighters entered Addis Zaman this morning. Very strategic city, and Gondar to Bahirdar, Dabretavo to Voldia, both roads were cut off when Fano fighters entered Addis Zaman. Thirdly, they entered in Jibara last night. In Jibara is the main city in Ago Avi zone. They carried out an attack there, they retreated. So three main attacks by Fano fighters in three different zones. Ago Avi zone, Gondar, so near South Gondar, and Wallo, Voldia. You see, three major attacks in three different zones of the Amhara region by Fano fighters. And fourth attack was in Alamata, again a different zone where a police commander was assassinated, allegedly by Fano or fighters. He worked as security chief to confirm that he was killed in Alamata by unknown forces. Who are these unknown forces? Definitely, people are pointing fingers towards Fano fighters. Secondly, Ola, though fighting never came to a halt in Oromia during negotiations too, but fighting's intensity decreased. Once again, we're seeing resumption of fighting in the Oromia region, where some agricultural research workers, research center workers were kidnapped, allegedly by Fano fighters in Bishoftu. Secondly, clashed with military and Ola in Horo, Gadoro, Ovalega. By the way, Oromo Liberation Army spokesperson Oda Turbi spoke a few hours ago, and he talked about Ola's readiness to be part of another round of talks. And people have been asking questions. They've been saying, Sajid, Ola is ready to talk again. So what does Ola want? I think Ola's new statement is just a political statement. Ola always says it is ready for talks. But when talks are held, Ola shows no flexibility. It wants a transitional government. It wants the exercise of Article 39. So Ola will always say that it is ready for talks. It does not mean that it is showing any flexibility. So Ethiopian government's latest statement 3 days ago was very clear. The government expressed its disappointment with Ola's demands, accusing Ola of obstructing the process of talks. So, no signs of any new round of talks between Ola and government in coming days. Maybe a little later we could see resumption of dialogue, but so far no new signs of talks. And in the meanwhile, you could see resumption of large-scale fighting. Though, again, I would say no big military offensive is coming against Ola in Oromia. It won't happen because I don't think that Ethiopian military would try to involve itself deeper into Oromia. It is already caught up very badly. It's in a very bad position in the Amhara region of Ethiopia. It won't like to open any large-scale major fronts in Oromia. It will continue the pressure. You could see small-scale attacks by Ola, small-scale operations by military, but you will never see a large-scale operation with borders sealed, with drone strikes, air strikes, with involvement of infantry, etc. You won't involvement of commando forces too, but you'll only see small-scale attacks. That is my analysis, I think. Main target is Fano, not Ola. So this is just these are just a few main news stories from today. What do you mean by flexibility? Mayasao Casa said, well, if Ola, when talks happen, generally you have to show flexibility. Your demands are always high demands, but then the two sides agree on some common ground. That is why talks are held. If the two parties are not ready to show flexibility, there is no need of talks. Then talks should not be held because they have their respective positions. Ola is not showing any flexibility. Either it does not trust the government, it has the bad experience of 2018. It does not want to disarm itself. It does not want to be in a difficult position. It wants to be able to survive. There could be several reasons, but Ola government talks have totally collapsed. No sign of resumption. But you'll keep on seeing statements from Ola, maybe from government too, that it is ready to start dialogue, it is ready for talks. But this session of talks has shown that the two sides are poles apart. It is very difficult for the two sides to reach a common ground. One, the two sides will have to make a compromise. Ola not showing any flexibility. Ethiopian government might show flexibility, but how far can it go in accepting Ola's demands? Gilaro will not come to Ethiopia. He has to find jobs somewhere outside Ethiopia. I've been trying to confirm his return, by the way. I received some information, but let me verify it. If Kamsa Dereba is unable to return to Oromia, it would be a big blow to the Oromo Liberation Army. But I think that he will return because the mediators who took him out of Valaga, they are guarantors. So they will ensure his return, because if he returns, maybe someday, maybe in near future, there could be resumption of talks too. Not in near future, not in coming days, but maybe in coming months. So mediators, I don't think would violate their commitments. Jawar is asking question. Sajid, have you wondered why Ola is not attacking that much? Well, uh, Ola can silently enhance its capabilities. Maybe at this point of time, Ola has decided to keep a low profile, but it is getting more recruits, it is training them, it is getting weapons too. So it is turning into a bigger, a more formidable force. Ola's silence does not mean that it has decided to lay down arms, it has decided to make peace with the government. No. I think Ola is taking advantage of the conflict in Amhara. Months ago, I said that conflict in Amhara will produce a stronger Oromo liberation army because Ethiopian military is focused on Fano. You will see that. You'll see Ola emerge as a stronger group in Ethiopia in future, because military is not in a position to launch big offensives on both fronts. So military's main front is Amhara, not Oromia. And Ola is maybe busy getting more recruits, training them, diversifying its sources of funding, consolidating its control of territories. But at this point of time, Ola will not make a big move. Why? Because if it starts attacking military, if it starts launching big attacks, military might rethink that it should tackle Ola first and Fano later. So Ola wants the conflict in. By the way, Ola has been very lucky. Conflict in northern Ethiopia for 2 years. Military fought there. Ola had the Oromo region to itself, and it turned into a big in Amhara. Again, Ola not under pressure. It is enhancing its capabilities. Adam Ahmed Ibrahim. Hi, Sajid. Hi, Adam. Now, let me share the bad news. A is asking again and again, saying, "What is the bad news, Sajid?" I'll speak on that. Anonymous, hi Sajid. Have you noticed that Amhara ethnic-based fighters are witnessing what the former EPRDF have fought for, and that is by default? Abhay Bechala, do you have any information or point that made two parts to not reach an agreement? I think I did a video on that. Their demands are poles apart. Ola wants a transitional government. It wants a joint front. It wants all opposition parties to be adjusted in transitional setup. It wants Jawar's party. Uh, it wants Oromo Liberation Front, all to be adjusted in transitional setup. It wants guarantees about exercise of Article 39. Ethiopian government wants a bilateral deal between government and Ola. It is ready to give some share to opposition parties, but not now. It says that after next election, such a deal can be reached. Ethiopian government wants disarming of Ola fighters, immediate, complete. Ola is refusing to disarm. There are several other issues too, but these are a few major sticking points between the two sides. Now, let me come to the point title. First story. Bad news for Ethiopian government. Can I speak? If you let me speak, can I start? I'll take your questions a little later. I'll respond to your comments too. Okay. PM Abiy visited Saudi Arabia a few days ago. Asas Afwerki was there to Africa. Arabia summit was held there. And PM Abiy held meetings with PM Abiy and Asas Afwerki held meetings with Mohammed bin Salman, others too. And there he met with Sheikh Mohammed Al Amoudi, a top businessman with huge investments in Ethiopia. Pictures were released, and there the Prime Minister of Ethiopia requested the Sheikh to help the government. How can the rich businessman Al Amoudi help the government? Government needs cash. Government in need of hard currency. It needs a few billion US dollars. So government wanted Al Amoudi to invest in Ethiopia or to give currency, to help the government in increasing its foreign exchange reserves. That meeting did not produce any results. Rather, the Sheikh has decided to put an end to the operations of one of his major companies in Ethiopia. The company has around 8,000 workers, and these workers are going to be laid off. Moha, soft drinks company, is going to wrap up its operations in Ethiopia. It is being reported by some sources. And the workers who are being laid off, obviously, they are worried. They are now contacting trade unions. They want their jobs to be protected. This is third bad news for Ethiopian government in the past 2 weeks. We saw that Ethio-Lease stopped operations in Ethiopia. Ethio-Lease was purchasing equipment for Ethiopian businessmen from abroad. It was purchasing equipment in dollars and then leasing the equipment to Ethiopian businessmen, Ethiopian factories who were paying in birr. But Ethio-Lease decided to stop its operations in Ethiopia due to lack of cash, lack of dollars. Then We saw that Ethiopian effort to sell shares in Ethio Telecom did not succeed. No one showed interest. Ethiopia was hoping to get a few hundred million US dollars through the sale of Ethio Telecom shares. It did not happen. Third bad news, that Sheikh Al Amoudi is not helping the government. Rather, he's uh, stacking a blow to the government, is withdrawing his investment in Ethiopia. And again, reason is simple: security situation. If there is no peace, there cannot be any stability. Even a layman knows that no one is going to invest in Ethiopia if conflicts continue. If conflicts don't end amicably, you won't see any investments. And that is happening. Conflict in Tigray ended, but still uh, unresolved issues are there. Anytime we could see resumption of hostilities. In Amhara region, a long protracted conflict is on the cards. Businessmen are being threatened. They're being told to pay taxes. Fano fighters have sent messages to Amhara businessmen to pay taxes. Some businessmen have fled Amhara region. They cannot support Fano because if they support Fano, a government will arrest them, and they cannot support the government. If they support government operation against Fano, Fano will assassinate them. So factories are laying off workers and businesses being closed. In Oromia, already we are seeing that Ola fighters are carrying out attacks. Sugar factories, cement factories are the targets. Ola is collecting taxes from these factories. Foreigners are being abducted. This is the situation in the country. Who will invest in Ethiopia if there is so much unrest, so much instability in the country? No one wants to risk his investment. So, what Sheikh did makes sense. Why would he endanger his investments in Ethiopia? He is withdrawing. Other Amhara businessmen will also withdraw. And by the way, Ethiopian PM in his talks always says that there cannot be prosperity without peace. When it comes to peace through talks, then he is not ready to talk to groups in Amhara. He is not making any visible efforts to talk to groups in Amhara. Yes, he is trying to talk to Ola. He's accusing Ola, but at least talks have been held. But in Amhara, so far, government is not showing any interest in start of negotiations. So that is why overall disappointing news for Ethiopian government that and we have been hearing since November last year about a likely bailout package for Ethiopian government. This bailout package has not come so far. Just acquiring of 1 billion, 2 billion US dollars for Ethiopia is turning into a very challenging task. Western countries, US, though they are ready to mediate between Ethiopian government and Ola, Ethiopian government and Fano, but they're not giving any bailout package to Ethiopian economy. Then loan payment, debt payment rescheduling, only China agreed. China has suspended loan payments for 2 years, loan repayments for 2 years. Other countries dragging their feet. They might suspend loan repayments, but still, economy is in need of an injection of a few billion US dollars. This injection not coming. PM Abiy's government trying to explore all the venues, all the options they can explore so far. Nothing seems to be working. People say, Sajid, you always share the bad news about Ethiopia. Now, what should I do? I mean, this is what is happening. Daniel is asking, Sajid, is Jawar part of the negotiations team? I could not confirm his presence, by the way. I talked to the people who were familiar with developments in Tanzania. We could not confirm his participation. Maybe he was there, but I have no confirmation. So I'll talk to you. I'll share this development with you, this new story with you, if I have verified information. I have no such verified information. But Jawar is Jawar and others too, opposition politicians, they're nowhere to be seen, by the way. While they're criticizing the government indirectly, and they are pointing out that Ethiopia is in a critical condition, what are they doing? What is their role? What is their contribution? Nothing so far. How much TPLF pays you every week? B Human is asking. TPLF is not in a position to pay anyone, man. They are in need of money. Thank you. Long live Ethiopia. Will you ever visit Eritrea and Ethiopia? Will government give you a visa? Yes, I think Ethiopian government, Eritrean government, both will give me a visa for arrival, not at an airport, but right in a prison. So let me see if I can accept this type of visa. What do you suggest, by the way? Should I visit Adisa Baba or Asmara? Blue Navy says, Mr. Bad News. What should I do? I mean, that is what is happening. Pessimistic. Blue Navy says. Well, I don't think people from outside or inside are very optimistic about the policies of Ethiopian government. I appreciate PM Abiy when I think his direction is right. I appreciated him when he pressed ahead with the filling of the dam. He handled the border situation with Sudan too very calmly. I appreciated him because back then he was focused on filling the dam. But when he commits blunders, how can we appreciate him? When his government is failing to perform, how can we appreciate him? Why should we give false hopes to people? We are not representatives of the government. Government representatives can give false hopes, but we only share the real picture with the people. Sorry. Do you have any blood connections there? Are you talking about Ethiopia? Liko Yinialam is asking this question. Adam says, Long Live says, come to Ethiopia, come to Addis, it's amazing and we will protect you. I would love to visit Ethiopia, by the way. Eritrea too, the country which I've been covering for uh, more than 3 years now, Eritrea as well. I would love to visit these countries. I would love to visit the places, meet the people, but at the right time, I think. Daddy said, do you think Jawar can be a PM in Ethiopia? Well, Jawar might be listening, by the way, because a friend a few months ago contacted me. He's close to Oromo politicians. I think earlier this year he contacted me. He mentioned Jawar. He said, Sajid, Jawar, not happy with your reporting. Uh, I think Jawar has the potential to lead the country, but either uh, he has some limitations because of his background. He's from Oromia. He does not want to lose his power base, or he does not want to uh, work on national level. Either he is afraid that he will lose his power base, which is Oromia, or he is convinced that he should only work to protect the interests of Oromo. Ethiopia needs nationalists. If this country is to remain united, it needs those politicians who talk about Ethiopia. There is a shortage, acute shortage of such figures. Why? Because people don't accept them. These politicians are helpless, I would say, to protect, to retain their vote bank, their support base. They have to work for the protection of the rights of their respective ethnic groups. But I suggest that Ethiopia needs true nationalists, leaders with open minds, no bias towards anyone. That is the way forward. Jawar had the potential. I think he was more popular when he was in prison. He lost his popularity after he came out of prison. He carried out some political activities and then he just went into background. Now he is nowhere to be seen. I have not seen him post in social media too for months. He is silent, and people, even now, groups in Oromia mistrust Jawar because I stay in touch with people from all sides. They mistrust him. They think that he is in a secret pact with PM Abiy's government, that he is Prosperity Party's asset. So Jawar has lost his standing in Oromia by being silent or by being in secret pact with the government. And he won't like my comments if there are rumors only. If it's only a rumor and Jawar is not in a pact with the government, I think he should be in public. If he cannot carry out political activities, at least he can be in public. I don't think he's under restrictions. He can visit other countries. He can return to Ethiopia too. He's not under restrictions. But the way he has disappeared from public domain is tarnishing his image and damaging his standing as a politician. Drum, very important comment. 2023 and Ethiopian still dying of hunger. Yes, I did a video on that 2 days ago. Shame. It's a shame that people still dying of hunger while who is to blame, by the way? We cannot blame USAID, World Food Program. We cannot blame ISAS, Savoki. PM Abiy's government is to blame, whether you support him or oppose him. In the end, governments, regional, zonal, federal level, that they're responsible for the deaths of innocent people who are dying of hunger. Peace and love. Afafa, Anaiza, what is your third daughter's name, Mr. Sajid? Arfa, Anaiza, and Sarah. Three names: so Sarah, Arfa, and Anaiza. Anaiza is the youngest. Aman Voshe says Ethiopian politics is complicated. Well, no one forced Jawar to join politics. No one forced Marira Gudina, Daudipsa, Getachew, uh, Debratsion to be part of politics. They chose to be in politics. Now, they are vulnerable. Yes, politics is difficult, complicated, but they cannot just enjoy the benefits of being in power. Now, when they are in opposition, they'll have to be effective opposition politicians, to be true leaders of Ethiopian people. When they're in opposition, they are nowhere to be seen. Mooney has joined the chat. Can you please ask Vadi Ofla how his kiosk is doing at the mall? Where is Vadi Ofla? Did Vadi join today? Kabada, sorry, Ayana, Sajid, who gives you information about Ethiopia? Should I make the names public? A has written the word revolution for almost 10 times so far. I think he will not stop writing until there is revolution in Ethiopia. Adam is asking about disputed territories. Yeah, Ved is here, but I did not see him. Adam is asking about possible Tigray's move to reclaim disputed territories. Uh, Tigray does not want to make a military move. Tigray wants the federal government to fulfill its responsibility, implement Pretoria deal, and hand over Koro Milamata Raya, Humera Volkaya Sagadiru Tigray. Tiabo is talking about the youths of Adisa Baba being jailed for songs and Great Run at Great Run. Yes, people arrested after that. Some YouTubers arrested too, I think. So it's not surprising, by the way. Government is using state of emergency proclamation as a cover to arrest anyone uh, who is seen as a supporter of Fano or working to protect the interests of people aligned with Fano. Estefanos, please don't write the same comment again. Estefanos says, Jawar will rejoin Oromo civil war with Amharas if Abiy failed to wipe out Fano from where they are and if the imminent civil war erupts. Interesting perspective. Semper is asking about Tigray Eritrea peace deal possible. It's a very interesting subject, by the way. Can there ever be a peace deal between Tigray and Eritrea? I think Eritrea destroyed Tigray. The wounds suffered, received by Tigray will take decades to heal. I don't think TPLF, Tigray, will forget what Eritrea did. It was Eritrea which was the difference between TDF and ENDF. I don't think at this point of time any peace deal is possible between Tigray and Eritrea. Tigray will take revenge. I don't know when it will happen. You'll see. If Tigray is in a position in future, it would like to take revenge. Now, Tigray is not in a position to take revenge. So it does not want to be part of any war against Eritrea. It does not want to start war to regain Volga, because it is focused on reconstruction. It's people dying. 50 deaths on Tigray Amhara border in Voghemra, in Amhara, then in Tigray, Ichile, Abergale. So how can Tigray be ready for a new war now? Even France and Britain destroyed Germany, but deal happened. Yes, deal happened because Germany was destroyed. Tigray has managed to survive. TPLF survived. And Tigray is not, Tigray signed Pretoria, it agreed to disarm, but even this disarmament not complete. We cannot say that Tigray has lost everything. You cannot compare the defeat of Germany and the defeat of Tigray. Tigray is still there, TDF still intact, largely TPLF still there. So had Eritrea and Ethiopian military, had they just crushed TPLF and TDF, then you might have seen Germany, France like deal here. Alim Gizao, one of the members of the channel, I recognize members because they have special badges, so I can easily recognize their comments. Alim says, do you have the ethnic makeup of ENDF fighting Ola? How do they manage that compared to fighting Fano? No big operation against Ola is ongoing by them. And regional forces or Oromo mostly, they're also involved in fighting against Ola for years. Militia has been raised in Oromia, involved in fighting against Ola. It's not a question of ethnicity, I think. Question is that is military ready to launch a full-scale offensive on Ola? That is the question. But if you compare military operation in Amhara and Oromia, I think Fano fighters got support. Fano fighters managed to get support in the ranks of Amhara Special Forces, in the ranks of Ethiopian National Defense Force too. Ola could not get this type of support from Oromia Special Forces or Ethiopian National Defense Force. Though majority of the soldiers, majority of Oromia Special Force members is Oromo. So it's a bit different. Fano managed to create splits. Why? Because ASF joined Fano. Amhara Special Force, more than 50%, it is said, joined Fano. Tens of thousands joined Fano. And these ASF members have been working, operating in coordination with the Ethiopian National Defense Force. They jointly fought against Tigray forces. And now they're part of FANO. So things different, I think, in Amhara and in Oromo. Someone is talking about infiltration, that there is a lot of infiltration in Oromia Special Force by Ola. ASF members in Amhara joined FANO. How many Oromia Special Force members have joined Ola? I don't think any big number has joined. Civil, thank you, Civil, for this contribution. Sajid, who do you think would be the best leader of Ethiopia? It's a difficult question. It's a very difficult question. Who can lead Ethiopia now while the country is in a difficult position? I think Ethiopia cannot be led by one man. Ethiopia can be led by a coalition of the groups in Ethiopia, coalition of parties in Ethiopia, a coalition formed with all the parties having equal status. And that coalition can then nominate any man. Ethiopia isn't like Eritrea. It is not in need of one man. One man cannot run this country because there are different regions, different groups. You need a coalition behind the man. Though behind PM Abiy there is coalition too, Prosperity Party, based in Amhara, based in Oromia, based in Afar, based in Somali region. But that coalition is the ruling party. Opposition is not part of the coalition. Maybe Ethiopia needs a broader coalition. More players should be involved. And democratic reforms with opposition parties working freely. That is the way forward. If we propose names that Jawar can lead, Lizzo Ayaleo can lead, Debratsion or Getachew can lead, Sadkan can lead, I don't agree with any of these names. I think broad coalition is needed. And for that, you need comprehensive dialogue, open dialogue. Dialogue among all the parties with open minds, with flexibility, with single-mindedness about future of Ethiopia. Someone has proposed the name of Sadkan. Problem is that TPLF has been restricted to Mekelle now. TPLF ruled for decades. I don't see TPLF now as the sole power player in Ethiopia in future. No one sees that, I think. TPLF is trying to survive now. Even in Tigray, it is facing challenges. So you won't see TPLF in a strong in the strongest position at federal level. TPLF can be part of a coalition with Amharas, Oromos. That it can happen. Now let me speak a little on the second news story, which is about Jawar. Jawar remarked about the failure of peace talks. Alim, I'll respond to your question a little later. Which Fano group do you think is willing to compromise and more flexible? They all claim they want regime change. I'll respond to it. Jawar talked about peace talks. He raised 2 points. Firstly, he showed disappointment that the failure is not a good sign. Secondly, he talked about the involvement of international community. He said that now, today, international community is involved. It is focused on Ethiopia. It wants to resolve the conflicts in Ethiopia. Ethiopia should take advantage of this situation. It should make the most of the involvement of international community. Maybe tomorrow, international community will change its focus. What will happen then? This is the time for the government, for the groups in Ethiopia to realize that the world wants Ethiopia to resolve its problems. The groups, the parties involved should show flexibility. I just want to make one point. I agree with Jawar's statement. Yes, uh, all parties should show flexibility, but if the world is involved, there is a reason behind that. World does not involve itself for free, by the way. World wants to protect its interests. Western countries, US, they want to protect interests here in the Horn of Africa, across the Red Sea. So they want to be players in Ethiopia. They know that they cannot leave Ethiopia on its own. Why? Because uh, in Ethiopian neighborhood, there is Eritrea. Isaias Afwerki is a bitter critic of US and West, a strong ally of Russia and China. There is Sudan, split largely. Russians are definitely going to have a foothold there in Sudan. Somalia insurgency there for years. Al Shabaab still a force to reckon with. Kenya, a relatively stable country on good terms with US and West. So Ethiopia will not be left on its own. World will remain involved. Why? Because global interests lie in having presence in Ethiopia. Having said that, it does not mean that Ethiopian groups should take the involvement of international community for granted. No, it should not happen. If the world wants to mediate, I think in the end, the groups, the parties, the negotiators in Ethiopia will have to show some flexibility. Otherwise, this involvement of international community won't lead to any breakthrough. Ras Ras Yosias, I think I saw his name for the first time. Let me read his comment. I do follow your clips. Your view sounds fair so far. To add on your view, the main obstacle to get rid of Abiy is TPLF. The people in Tigray and Amhara can do the job to remove PP. I think you're saying that Tigray and Amhara can jointly remove the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Do you mean that? The government is saying that economy is strong. Sintaccio demystica. I don't think that the government is saying economy is strong. I think we heard from PM Abiy a few days ago at Parliament meeting. He said that Ethiopia was facing shortage of foreign exchange reserves. Everyone knows that the economy is in a difficult position. I think it's not a secret, by the way. Ethiopian debt repayment capabilities have been downgraded by some international monitors. Three disappointing developments about the economy. So even a layman can conclude that the direction is not right for the economy. Truth matters. One important comment about Eritrea. Sajid Tegarai TV interviewed the famine victims, and some of them were strongly claiming that the famine was because Eritrea destroyed their crops. When did Eritrea enter Abergale? Yes. I don't think EDF entered Abergale. Yes, I agree. EDF was not here. Adam, why is the West not talking about Abiy's claim of Eritrean territory? I think US spoke. US asked Ethiopia and Eritrea to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity. So that was a message from US to Ethiopian PM, I think. Several viewers are commenting about Tegarai Amhara alliance. I did some videos on that. Can there be a pact between Tegarai and Amhara uh, against Abiy, maybe, or even not against anyone, but to the extent of resolving the bilateral issues? Problem is that in Amhara, in Tigray, there is unity in terms of talks. TPLF or TDF and Tigray interim government, they can form a committee, talks can start. In Amhara, things are different. Fano is a new player now in Amhara. PP is another player. Nama, though it's part of the government, but it also tries to be opposition parties. So there are several players in the Amhara region. And can there be consensus in Amhara about talks to TPLF? It's difficult, I think. If Tigray Eritrea relations don't improve, you won't see Tigray Fano talks. If Tigray Eritrea relations improve without involvement of Ethiopian government, you could see federal government Tigray relations deteriorate. It's a very complicated situation. There is a consensus can be built in Tigray for talks to Amhara, but building of such consensus in Amhara is difficult. Mooney is talking about some good news in December. Mooney, break the good news now. Natsaneth Ficado is commenting and he is working at Moha, Sheikh's company, and he's saying that the problem wasn't due to Alamudi withdrawal. The problem started 5 years ago. Pepsi International was giving to Moha credit, but now because of dollar shortage, it is stopping. Well, I think Al Amudi is a rich man. If he wants to support the government, he can ensure that his company continues operations. He can support Ethiopian PM Abiy's government by investing in other sectors. He can give a few hundred million US dollars to Ethiopian government. But he is not coming to the rescue of Ethiopian government. That is the summary. Now, one comment before we end this session. Someone is saying you should be careful reporting about assassination. Sometimes government kills officers and claim that Fano or fighters are doing that. I try to verify the reports, by the way. And most of reports of assassinations I verify from people close to Fano. They claim responsibility in their private conversation. They tell me reasons too, by the way, why people are being assassinated. What did they do? Most of the assassinations in the Amhara region have been committed by Fano. Which Ethiopian media is trustworthy to take it as a credible source. I don't watch Ethiopian news channels, YouTube channels. I don't know local languages. That is why my analysis is independent because I am not influenced by them. Viewers share with me sometime that Sajid, Ethio Forum, Ethio 360 people are reporting this. So, what are your views? That is how I know what they're reporting. Otherwise, I don't know about their reporting, about the credibility. But they uh, sometimes take sides. They should be unbiased. Only one thing, they should be unbiased. Sinayat Megarsa has joined just now, saying hi. Hi, Sinayat. I think as viewers, uh, you can help improve the quality of reporting. For example, when I report some incorrect news, you correct me, you comment, and my comments are auto moderated. YouTube does the moderation. I don't do any moderation. I don't delete anyone's comment. First of all, you should demand that all the news outlets should ensure that comments are not deleted. And second, you should demand corrections, you should demand apologies. Once you'll put pressure upon the news outlets, they'll improve their reporting. Problem is that whatever they report, some people start sharing it as truth. And when the truth is exposed, people don't question these news outlets. You should question them, hold them accountable. That is the way to force them to improve their reporting, I think. I think we should end this live chat session now. 65 minutes have passed. As always, it was wonderful to be with you. I tried to respond to your questions. Mooney says, can I be a guest on your show, Mr. Corporate Analyst? You're welcome. If you don't share any hateful message, you're welcome. Just tell me the time, the date, and then we can reach some sort of understanding when to record this session. Anyone who is ready, especially members, my special offer is for the members. If any member wants to be on this channel, I'm ready. You can join me live in one-on-one discussion. You can send audio message, video message. Members are allowed that they can be on my views and news. Sajid dodged my questions. No, you. I think your question was the first one I responded to. You asked too many questions, by the way, and you were calling for revolution. So that is why I thought that let him demand revolution while I respond to other questions. Let's end this live chat session. Thank you for joining. Be Human says, make me moderator. No, let's keep you two as moderator, impartial moderator. Thank you for joining, viewers. We should end this live chat session. See you tomorrow. Again, it was good to be with you. We talked about economic obstacles for Ethiopian government. We talked about Jawar's remarks about failure of peace talks. We discussed a statement from Oromo Liberation Army saying that it was ready for talks. I said it is just a political statement. I shared details of Fano's three major operations in the last 24 hours. So this is just a summary of what we discussed in this live chat. Thank you for joining. See you tomorrow, the same time, for another live chat discussion. Thank you. Bye bye. See you.